There are more and more people on YouTube who share their own personal experiences about what a career change and leaving a 9 to 5 corporate job look like for them. Now you're better off than we were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 12 years ago. There's a lot more available out there, so I am joining the ranks. I think we all should get out there. Not because it's going to be the same for everyone, doesn't mean that you can copy me step by step, but seeing examples, I think just makes a big difference. Have you ever felt like your life was on an autopilot, like you were somehow living in other people's lives? When you are exhausted at the end of the day and feel like you haven't accomplished anything, that the entire day was kind of wasted? I did. Up until 2011, when I quit my corporate job. It was not a decision that I took overnight. It started very early on, and it took me a very long time, years in fact, until I got to a point when I was ready to leave. The hardest part about it was that I kept questioning myself. I could not accept how unhappy I was. Our entire life is about getting to a point where we can get a good job in a good company, have the great title and the great salary. It took me a very long time to accept how I felt about it, to accept that I did not feel fulfilled, I didn't feel happy, I didn't feel excited about going into work. In my family, there was never talk about meaning, purpose, contributing beyond yourself, self-expression, self-actualization, all these things. We never talked about it. We talked about money, we talked about status, we talked about stepping up the ladder and getting somewhere and making it and all those things, achievement. But we never talked about these deeper aspects of a work. It was like there was this blueprint that first you do this, then you do this, then you do this, and then you're gonna be happy. And I felt like I was somehow implementing the blueprint wrong. I'm supposed to feel very accomplished and very content because I have a job in London. I have made it to a large international company's headquarters. I'm running a very high profile project. And so why am I not feeling that sense of purpose? It made no sense to me. I grew up in Hungary, a small Central European country, and it was the last 10 years of communism. I was 10 years old when the Berlin Wall fell and communism was over in Eastern Europe. And it really was a very interesting time when in communism everything was about prestige. And then suddenly we found ourselves in the free world, so to speak. And in that new capitalist kind of era, everything became about money. I reflected a lot on that. I think that time really had an impact on how I was seeing a career, what a career was, what a job was. And I think what a job became to me at a very early age was that it is something that has to look good, it's something that has to sound good, and it's something that has to generate a lot of money straight away. I had a really hard time in corporate, especially around 2008 when I got promoted and when I became manager. I somehow expected life to be really wonderful because it was a great company and no one with my experience ever made it that level. I was really looking at it like this is the thing. Like I put it on the pedestal. I was like, once I made it there, life will be amazing. I will feel happy. I will feel excited. But then I was left with this really weird feeling that I'm still not happy. This is still not something that I find particularly meaningful. I felt really alone because at the time I felt like I couldn't really share it with people. It was not so accepted to talk about purpose and meaning and self-expression. And even when I tried to bring it up in conversation every now and then, I felt people just like shut me down. Some of them would say, yeah, but no one likes their work. That's just how it is. A job is not a hobby. You don't have to love your job. You do a job for money. I never could fully resonate with that. I really did try, but I never could make myself really arrive in a place when I said, okay, I don't care, this is for money. To me, it felt absolutely ridiculous to dedicate so much time of my life into something that I didn't personally at the bottom of my heart cared about. I kept thinking, if I'm so good at finance, which I am interested in fine, it's not like I hate it, but I'm not really connecting to it in a deeper way. So if I'm so good at finance, then how good could I possibly be at something that I love? Eventually, things got really bad. And even though I was telling myself this story that, yes, because I have this corporate job, I'm able to go on holidays. And yes, because I have this corporate job, I'm able to buy that dress and able to buy the handbag and all that. After a while, that story was no longer enough. Not only that, when you're telling a story constantly in your mind, it takes a lot of time and a lot of energy, and it was exhausting. Eventually, it became clear to me that I was not going to be able to stay, that I would need to find a way to get out of corporate and do something different. Even though I had no idea at the time what it was going to be, it just became obvious that I needed to find it. Making the decision inside of yourself, that doesn't mean you have to walk out of your corporate job straight away, like doesn't mean you have to resign the same day, but making that decision inside of you that this is not working and you want to do something different, I think is super, super important. It's not important because you need to leave straight away. It is important because it allows you to set an intention inside of yourself. It is so liberating for you to say, you know what, I'm taking charge of my life. Looking back, what really scares me to this moment is how little a value I placed upon my own happiness. That I was able to go on for years and tell myself stories and stay in a situation that was not working for me, how quick and easy it was for me to give up my happiness. I think that's scary, don't you think? It's this whole idea that it's more important to implement a plan that society tells us, so that this is how you're supposed to live and this is where you're supposed to work. That is more important than how you feel. Like how you feel on a Wednesday morning, 9:30, which you know what it is because you feel it in your body. Like that is not as important as some sort of a picture in the future. I think that's crazy. I'm not criticizing the corporate path. What I'm criticizing is this idea that a certain path is supposed to work for absolutely everybody. What happened next in my career, I really genuinely look at it like divine intervention. The company started to announce redundancies. I remember I kept thinking, please let me be one of them. It was not easy. Originally, I was not on the list. I wasn't going to be made redundant, but eventually I made it on the list, which I felt so happy about. And then everything started to move really fast. First, it was absolutely terrifying to leave the certainty of a corporate job, to leave the salary that's coming on the 27th of every month, to leave that for the nothing. But it was also super exciting. It was like I found a part of me that said like, you know what, there's life beyond this. I don't know what it is yet. I don't know what it looks like, but I think there's something that's out there for me. It just felt really great. I remember I was working from home one Friday afternoon and I put in the Google search, how to find the purpose of my life, which was a question that kept coming back to me. I didn't know exactly what that question meant, and I really felt bad, almost ashamed of wanting to ask that question because no one around me talked about that. So I kept thinking there must be something wrong with me because there are all these like millions of people working in corporate and no one is questioning their purpose. Anyway, so I put it on Google search and then up came a result that I did not expect. A coaching course, in fact, the first module of a long coaching program. And I thought, okay, I don't want to be a coach. I didn't even know what a coach was. I didn't think I was going to be one. But there was a standalone event that they marketed separately for people who wanted to understand human nature, who wanted to learn skills like communication, active listening, asking good questions, things like that. So I thought, okay, that's 2.5 days of my life. Fantastic. I can go. My original reasoning was that this course will be filled with people who want to be life coaches. And so there are probably going to be some exercises that we're going to have to do. And while they're practicing coaching on me, I'm going to get some sort of a clarity out of it. There's nothing I can lose. I went on that course. I saw what the teachers, the coaches were doing, and I felt something literally move inside my body. I remember I kept just thinking, please let it be break so I can go and speak to one of the coaches. It was break time. I went to speak to one of the facilitators and I asked her, so this is a job? And she looks at me laughing like, yeah, it's a job. And like, seriously, this is a job. Like what you showed to us today, this afternoon, that's what you do all day. And she says, yes, pretty much. And I'm like, oh my God, I want to do this. I think it's time for us to leave behind the antiquated, outdated idea that life has to look the same for everyone. So let's talk about what could be waiting for you on the other end. So if you are still on the fence, if you want to leave corporate, but you're not quite sure, you don't know what's going to be waiting for you beyond the 9 to 5, then I just wanted to give you a few things from my own life as to what life is like for me today. Number one, I love what I do. So at the end of the day, even when I'm tired and even when I feel like I've run out of energy completely, I'd never have this feeling like I have wasted my life away, that I have just wasted another day. Coaching is a super rewarding profession. Another human being is sitting in front of me, is talking to me openly and honestly about what they want, what's in their way, their obstacles, their difficulties. And it's just so amazing to see that because of the work that I'm doing, people in front of me are able to reach their goals, are able to move beyond certain limitations. They're able to feel better, happier, more liberated, more empowered. This whole TGI Friday, like we're looking forward to the weekend because life is so unbearable in corporate, I don't experience that. In fact, sometimes when I meet someone and says, oh, thank God it's Friday, I get that, like intellectually I understand that. I can go back in my memory. I remember what it felt like when I was really looking forward to the Friday, but now to me, a Friday and a Wednesday and a Monday and a Saturday, they're all the same because I really love what I do and I get really energized by it. One thing that I tend to forget is a huge benefit, but I tend to forget it and I need to remind myself because I became a freelance coach and because I was no longer employed, I was able to move to Spain, which was something my husband and I had been thinking about for a long time. And I am able to live in a country that it's not high on finance jobs. So if I'd stayed in finance, I don't think I ever would have moved because this is not a city that has a lot of finance opportunities. And so once you step outside corporate and you do work that you love, you may find that suddenly the entire world opens up to you. It's not just that you love your work more. It's not just that you enjoy it. It's not that there's more meaning and purpose in your life, but actually it's in a physical sense, there's more you can do. You can move to another country where November looks like this. When I worked in corporate, I used to lose energy. So when I went into the office, I had some energy and then 9:30 I already had less and 10 o'clock, oops, sorry about that. I have a coaching session in 4 minutes. Anyway, so when I used to work in corporate, I started with a certain amount of energy in the morning and then I lost energy. And then at 10 o'clock I had less energy and 11 I had less energy. And at 6 o'clock, sometimes I felt like I had no energy to even get home. When I'm coaching, I feel uplifted. In fact, I really prefer when I have a coaching session straight away, 9 o'clock in the morning, or up until about a year ago, I used to coach from 8:30, and I really enjoy that because already my day was starting with something that I felt really excited about. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts, if you have any further questions. Like and subscribe to my channel if you like the video, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.